What's up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the BMW F90 Generation M5 Competition. I filmed an M5 generations comparison video a while back, and the F90 at the time was the only generation that I didn't get to include in that comparison. Now of course the G90 is out as well. What an abomination that looks like on paper, but I'll reserve final judgment until I drive it. So the owner Justin mentioned he picked up this 2020 model year M5 Competition just a week and a half ago. He paid less than $70,000, and for that money, might this just be one of the best all-around performance cars you can buy? We're powered by a 4.4 liter twin turbocharged V8 engine making 617 horsepower and 553 pound-feet of torque. The non-competition version made 600 horsepower. This is the first generation of M5 to come with all-wheel drive as standard, but BMW knew their hardcore customers would still want good old-fashioned rear-wheel drive fun, so this car has the ability to go into full rear-wheel drive mode. We have electric power steering, double wishbone front suspension, multi-link rear, but this car weighs over 4,300 pounds. This one, with a carbon roof and no moonroof, might be one of the lighter specs you can get out there. However, this one does not have the carbon ceramic brakes, which are optional. We have 20-inch aluminum alloy wheels, 9.5-inch wide in the front, 10.5-inch wide in the back, wrapped in Michelin PS4S tires, and this car had an original MSRP starting at $112,000. So 4 to 5 years later, you can pick these up for 30 to 50% less of the original price. But let's see if this over 2-ton M5 is actually any fun to drive. First impressions of the interior, it kind of reminds me of a blend between the F80 generation of M3 and G80 generation of M3. The steering wheel reminds me of the G80. The fact that we have a standard shrouded gauge cluster here and a separate infotainment display reminds me more of the F80. This car has a lot of adjustable drive modes. Justin, the owner, has set these M1 and M2 modes so that in M1 mode we have engine in Sport Plus, transmission in the quickest of 3 settings, chassis, which is the suspension in Sport, steering in Sport, DSC off, and 4-wheel drive Sport. And then in M2 mode, he set it up to be rear-wheel drive. So let's start with M1. Of course, in addition to these 2 modes, you have the ability using these buttons down here to individually adjust things like the suspension and the steering. That's a lot of power. That's a lot of power, all right. Even for such a heavy car, this thing scoots. Oh yeah, some cracks and pops when you lift off. 8-speed automatic transmission. Very quick shifting. Really can't complain about the ZF at all. It is smooth and quick, if a little bit too boring perhaps. So much power from this V8, and it pulls hard to the red line, which is about 7,000 RPM. The all-wheel drive system is super confidence inspiring. It puts the power down, but this is where this car kind of falls apart for me, is this front end. There's no feedback whatsoever from this steering. Even in sport mode, I feel nothing. Let's try something. We'll put it into Sport Plus, which will give us the least amount of assistance, but still, there's no feedback. None at all. It's completely dead. So that quick ratio combined with no feedback, this car has a little bit of a nerve-wracking feeling when you first turn into a corner. You don't quite know where the grip limits are. In a straight line, this car is a rocket ship. Make no mistake about it. But the moment we find a corner here, I just have no idea what's going on at the front. Also, this suspension is surprisingly stiff. We have it in sport mode right now. Oh, wow, this car moves around, even in four-wheel drive mode. So the stiffness of the suspension going over bumps, combined with the utter lack of steering feedback, this is a very nervous handling car. Maybe not nervous handling per se, but it gives me the impression that it could step out at any second. Oh, this exhaust. So aggressive. Gunshots when you lift off. Even just driving over these little reflectors on the road, this car feels stiff. The Audi RS6 Avant I drove a while back, despite being similar in size and similarly overpowered and four-wheel drive, that was a much more dynamically impressive car. This one feels very fast, but very disconnected. Oh wow, definitely not a downhill car. That's to be expected, given the weight. Let's try M2 mode. This is rear-wheel drive. Oh, just feel that rear end just slightly stepping out on throttle. It's a lot of horsepower and torque to send through a pair of Michelin PS4S's. My hands are drenched in sweat, and this leather-wrapped wheel is not making it any easier to grip. Oh my God. It's too much power, suspension, firmness, and too little steering feel. It's a very disconnected driving experience. In a straight line, you just put your foot down, but the moment you find some corners, it inspires very little confidence. All right, we've got it in two-wheel drive mode. A little bit of wheel spin, but then it just hooks up and goes. This powertrain combined with this 8-speed ZF transmission, they are excellent. BMW is known for getting that right in all of their M cars. But this chassis, this handling, especially the steering, out of everything, that's the thing that I'm the most disconcerted by. Definitely mixed feelings about the F90 M5 Comp. I wish I could say, well, at least this is a great daily driver, right? It's super fast, super comfortable, very refined. But I have a suspicion that the suspension on a daily basis would get old. But I'll reserve judgment on that just because I haven't actually driven this on a proper city driving environment. But out here, definitely not in its element, except for those straightaways. So for $60,000 to $70,000 used, is this the value play if you want a super sport sedan? I'm not sure. I haven't driven enough cars in this segment to be able to say that definitively, but I will say the RS6 Avant is a much better driver's car. It's the far more confidence-inspiring and focused vehicle to drive hard, but it's also a lot more expensive. I have not seen those in the $60,000 to $70,000 range yet. Either way, a big shout out to Justin for letting me experience this M5 competition of the F90 generation. Let me know how you think all the generations of M5 stack up. Have they just gotten too powerful and too numb? Now I'm very curious to see how the new G90 generation feels. Hopefully, I'll be able to get behind the wheel of one very soon. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one.